Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the plan going into tomorrow. So this is what we looked like today off of open. Going into today, if we pull up the 30-minute chart here on the call side, this tells us the trend in the market. So as you guys know, yesterday we ended up going neutral. Why? Because this 30-minute went negative. So 10 SMA went below the 50, which means the bulls lost the trend and the market's now neutral. Now we have to wait for the 30-minute chart to cross again on either the put side or the call side to have trend in the market. So until that happens, there's no true trend. No side really has an edge. But in my opinion, I still favor the upside. Again, it's the July 18th contracts. This tells us the bigger picture pretty much. So on the put side, you can see there's nothing crossed here, so that means there's nothing crossed on either side of the premium, so we're neutral. I'm going to pull up the July 18th contracts really quickly so you guys understand why I kind of have that slight bullish bias. And we did have a nice little pump in the morning, and we're actually able to capitalize on it. So I'm actually on the wrong chart here, but if you pull up the 630s for the 18th, this is what we look like. I went over that. We closed at a very key spot, and we're still hovering around this daily 50 SMA. And until this gets broken, I favor the upside. I mean, this chart is really clean. 10 went above the 50, and we just pulled back to the 50. And I would expect us to bounce. And if we could get the 30-minute chart on the Friday contracts to cross, then that will pretty much confirm the bulls are going to send this higher. So until that happens, though, the market is still neutral, and I have that slight bullish bias because of this chart. So this is what we did today. So if we pull up the 5-minute chart on the calls, I actually caught this cross here. A little bit of a higher risk type of trade in terms of entry point, but my risk on this was super tight. I was rocking probably a 10-point stop max on this trade just because it was a little extended. If we look here, this 10 SMA was going above the 50. Call this out at 940-ish, I think was the entry point, somewhere around there. And yeah, I mean, the 10 was going above the 50 on the call side. I favored the, I had that bullish bias because of that daily chart. And I honestly thought we were going to go higher today, but that wasn't the case. And that's why, I wasn't looking to bag hold this thing at all. I was up 45 points, and I started to trim because it did start to reject from where we were. So I trimmed a little bit, and I was holding the rest to break even or, on the next leg up. And I ended up trimming for 60 points. That was my full position, and it was a really good trade. I mean, after 60 points, usually I sell it all at 50, but we did have a pretty big spike on a 5-minute candle, and that ended up getting me that 60 points. So I just sold everything there. There's no trend, so most likely, it will see some sort of pullback, and that's exactly what happened. We come down to the 50. You don't buy this 50 SMA dip because there's no trend in the market. Again, if this 30-minute on the call side was crossed, if the 10 SMA was above the 50 SMA on this 30-minute chart, then you'd be able to buy that 5-minute 50 dip. But since there's no trend in the market, that 50 SMA is less likely to hold, and that's why we don't buy this 50 dip down in here. So yeah, this chart ended up going negative. This negative cross really was hard to play because of how quick this candle dropped us. So by the time the chart actually went negative, I mean, it probably didn't give that many points. So that's not a trade I would have taken. And then rest of the day, there was nothing. I mean, it was pretty much chopped the rest of the day. You could see just choppy action. And if we flip to the puts, same thing. We didn't get across on the put side, so there's no entry to short. I really wouldn't want to take the put cross, but if we did get it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's just because of that higher time frame on the July 15th or the July 18th contracts is, it's more so bullish. But if we did get a put cross, I was going to take it, and that just wasn't the case today. We rejected the 50, and that was that. There's the only trade opportunity was that 0DT cross on calls, and that ended up paying. The rest of the day, pretty choppy. Obviously, we ended up selling off from this move, but there was really no entry given to take a short. So that's what we did today. Also, some individual stocks that I did call out today. If we pull up coin, really nice move on this chart today. So I honestly don't know what chart is the right ones. It's either I think it might be the 360s for the 18th or the 365s. I'm going to be honest, I completely forget which one it is. I think I had both of them on my watch list. And I forgot to remove the one, and I forget which one it actually is, but it's the same deal, I think. So, on this daily chart, again, 10's above the 50 on this July 18th contract. So you guys know this is a newer version of the system, and this is the higher time frame trend of a stock. So if the daily charts cross on the July, the monthly contracts, then the overall bigger picture is pretty bullish. So you can see we got this cross on the daily, and we got a big move up on coin, and it pulled back, didn't hit the 50 exactly, but we ended up bouncing. So how did we actually end up taking an entry on this? Well, if we pull up the Friday contracts, the 30-minute chart ended up crossing here on the 365s. Again, I think it's the 360s or 365s, but it's the same chart. I mean, if we pull up the 360s, if we switch it, you can see what happens. It's the same exact chart. So, 10 SMA going above this 50 SMA on the 30-minute for this Friday contract expiration, that gives us our entry point. And then, this other chart here, the July 18th contracts, just give us the bigger picture outlook and, most likely where the stock's going. So, since the 10's above the 50 on the daily chart, it's still a pretty bullish chart, and I'd favor higher. So, that's exactly what we did today. We caught, I think, about like 40% on the coin calls for Friday, holding some in tomorrow. I actually haven't trimmed yet, so hopefully it doesn't gap down. But I mean, this chart is super bullish. 30-minute just crossed today, and yeah, it looks really good. If we flip to Nvidia now, this is another one. I don't think I had this one loaded up. I'm gonna have to pull it up really quickly. But this, I'm in some drawdown on this trade. But again, the July 18th contracts look really good. Friday contracts aren't the best looking, but if we pull up Nvidia here on the 11th contracts 30-minute chart, again, not the best looking chart in the world because 10 went above the 50, but this 50 SMA is pointed down a little bit, 10 SMA is down quite a bit, and the higher time frames still aren't really crossed yet. Like this 1 hour is just a funky chart. The 2 hour, we're above all key resistance areas. Even the 4 hour we closed above. I really hope this could be a really good looking setup, like a really good move out of this, because we closed above the 4 hour 50 twice. The 50 SMA is pretty level here on the 4 hour. Same thing with the 10 SMA, it's pretty close to the 50. So if we can get a nice pump tomorrow and this 10 goes above the 50 and this ends up just ripping us really hard, that would be great. We need a gap up though tomorrow on Nvidia pretty much to save this trade. But if we pull up the July 18th contracts, this is what it looks like. So if I pull this up really quickly, if we go to the daily here, this is a great looking setup. I mean, it's the same scenario as like all the other like setups. The daily's crossing, 10 going above the 50 on the daily. Overall bigger picture's bullish. And then when we flip to the, like I said, the 30-minute chart that we were just on, we were crossed, and then the 50 did end up turning down, but I'm using the 50 SMA as my stop. If we get a closure below that, I'll hop out and then just wait for the cross again to re-enter. But yeah, those are two good looking setups that we have, and yeah, one of them's already paid. This one, not so much, down like 35%. So yeah, holding as long as 50 holds. And game plan for tomorrow for SPY, market's neutral, so 0 DT call cross, 0 DT put cross, negative cross on either side would work. I still favor the upside though, like that's my bias pretty much. Until that 50 SMA breaks on the July 18th contracts, then I favor up. So that's the game plan. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join Discord down below. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm out. Peace.